For those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa. I'm on staff at River City Church, and I have the honor of helping to lead the women's ministry at River City Church. And I am up here at this point because, as Jared mentioned, me and 80 of my best ladies just spent the weekend at Epworth for our, there we are. And a couple of them had to leave already, but the Lord brought 80 women up to Epworth on Labor Day weekend, and I'm telling you, we had to turn people away. When we first started planning this months ago, we were like, oh, it's not really a great weekend. We know some ladies aren't going to be able to come. We haven't done this in a long time. Are they going to want to do this? And so we were like, I don't know, maybe 40, maybe 60 women are going to be there. And I'm telling you, church, God brought 80 women up there. It was just such an amazing, powerful weekend. I want to say, just with this picture up here, something like this does not happen on the backs of one or two people. This is such a team effort. And out of the 80 women that we had up there, we had over 30 women help to put this thing together. And I know it's a light crowd here today, but if you are one of those women, I want you to stand up. Stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. These are the women who said, yes, Melissa, get up. Margaret, get up. Margaret, stand up. Diasha, you're not standing up. Come on. Yes. This does not happen on one. This is what it looks like to be in a good company of women. You like that hat? Okay, just saying. All right, I want to read our verse for the weekend, and I'm just going to give you a little recap of what we did and what God did over this weekend. Hold on. Okay, this is the verse that God gave us for the weekend, and it just informed everything that we did. It was such a powerful verse. This is Psalms 68, and we're doing 11 through 12. It said, "The Lord gave the command, and a great company of women brought the good news." That's right, Virginia. The Lord gave the command, and a great company, in good company, get it? See what we did there? Of women brought the good news. The kings of the armies flee. They flee. And the women divide the plunder. Yes. Oh my gosh. So here's what we did at this weekend. It was full of, it was 24 hours. It was jam-packed. We wore our hats. We dodged the rain. We played a very fierce and competitive round of bingo, late night bingo. But we just had such a powerful time. I feel like if you say, what can God do in 24 hours? Man, let him show you. Give him those 24 hours and let him see what's going to happen. Okay, so on our first night, Courtney, you can see here in the picture in the white shirt, she just brought such a powerful word over this verse. It's the Lord speaks, right? The Lord gives the command. So what is the word that the Lord is still speaking to his church today? What is the word that the Lord is still speaking to the women, to his daughters, his mighty warriors today? And are we listening to hear it? Are we willing to hear what he has to say? She started out this with powerful words of knowledge for the women that were in that room, that the God still speaks to us today. He still has words of truth and knowledge of who he is and who we are in him. And if we are willing to hear the words that he has for us and proclaim them out into his kingdom, it is such a powerful thing that the Lord does to build his body up. Jocelyn on Saturday morning just brought such a vulnerable and honest word about what it looks like to release some of those things that we don't need to be carrying with us anymore. And maybe it's physical reminders of a hard season or pain that we went through. And maybe it's something deep, like an unforgiveness we didn't even realize we were still holding on to. And we had the opportunity after these to meet with God and allow him to break through some of these spaces. We had a room set off to the side that was specifically kind of for prayer and for soaking. And we kind of thought like, oh, maybe that would be nice to have there. That room was packed. Right? I remember on Friday night, I literally had to go and kick ladies out. I was like, you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. We got to lock this building up. That's how much the presence of God was there, that the women just didn't want to get out of his space. And then as we were kind of leaving, and it was like, what was so interesting is some of the things that we were talking about of God just coming and blowing away and washing away what doesn't need to be there. And literally, and this was kind of Saturday as Jocelyn was speaking, it is just absolutely pouring rain. It's just pouring rain of God just showing what it is to just let that go. Let his blood come and just wash away. And this verse, man, I love this verse because the more I got into it, the deeper it went. And it is such a verse of a battle cry of what God does. And what it talks about is where are those things in our area, or where are those areas in our lives where God comes and we let him have victory over the battles of our lives. Like, what are those things that he came, those things that we thought he couldn't redeem, the marriage we thought couldn't be saved, the child we thought would never come back. And when God shows up and his blood comes and redeems that, the spoils of that those things that the enemy was using for his kingdom, that he was using to build his kingdom, God redeems them. He washes them clean, and he uses them to build his kingdom. That which the enemy meant for evil, God uses for good. And this verse tells us to proclaim that. Don't hide that. Because what about your best friend who's sitting next to you, who's still praying for her child, whose marriage is still on the rocks? When you proclaim what God has done, it shines. And it is the encouragement and the testimony of Jesus for what he's going to do, because God is in the business of redeeming. It is what he has done from the beginning. It is what he does now. It is what he will continue doing long after we are gone. And this verse in Psalms, I'm supposed to be talking about the retreat. I'm just preaching up here. Okay, so I'm sorry. But it's all about, it's the saving work of Jesus from the beginning all the way to the end. And the place that we get to enter in with God with that. So, okay, all right, I was getting carried away there. What I want to do, I know you guys are so excited because you love doing this, is I want to hear from some of the women that were with us this weekend. This is what we do at RCC. It's weird. We say, God did something in your life, come up and tell the whole church about it. Because this whole thing is about proclaiming what God did. So I know there's a couple ladies out there, about 80 of them, who had a really fantastic time this weekend. I will say this, is when you have women come to like a retreat over this, and we had multiple women who their job is event planning, their job is retreats. And so when they're like, oh, I guess I'll go to your retreat, and they come back and like, oh my gosh, that was great. Like, I feel like that's a testament to Jesus and what he can do. So I would love for anyone to come up who was at the retreat just to share a little bit of what God did in this time. And we have a couple minutes, so anyone who wants to come up, ladies, I'm ready for you. Nicole is coming up. Oh, my gosh. Okay, I know, that's why I'm so surprised. Okay, Nicole, tell us your name. What God's done. You can have.
Hi, guys. My name is Nicole. Howdy. Yeah, I just briefly wanted to say that, so the picture that you just saw of the room, right, was kind of like a long, very long room. And first of all, it was gorgeous and so inviting in there. But on Friday night, I mean, it was a long day Friday, right? We got there early to get everything loaded off the truck and setting up and all the things and getting sound check done. Rudy and Bruce rocked it, getting all the stuff ready for us. When we started worship on Friday night, if you were in the room, you'll know what I mean. I was standing there. Now, I mean, I lead worship a lot. It's always very gratifying, and I love to worship Jesus with you guys. These women just jumped straight in. I've never seen anything like it. It was like Sunday morning, just at the retreat. Everybody was so hungry for what God was going to do that there was no hyping anything up. We all went in together, and it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Truly. Thank you to all of the husbands who held things down at home, because we really did experience the Lord in a major way. And the other thing I wanted to say was just that the costly gift that we brought to the Lord this weekend was so valuable to him. And so I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of what you guys brought to the Lord this weekend. It was really awesome.
Thank you, Nicole. Come on up, girl. Okay, I won't say your name, but you can, I do know it. You can tell us your name and just share a little bit about what God did this weekend.
Thank you. Liz. My name's Liz. So I didn't want to go this weekend. I kind of dug my heels in actually about it. And my best friend was like, "You're going." This year's been very hard. And I felt pretty isolated in my circumstances. I just didn't feel like people would understand the stuff I've been going through. Very like, oh, well, I'm the only one with these unique hardships. Well, as the message rolled around, I just felt like, Courtney's up there and she's just this ball of happiness. I cannot relate to that. And I started writing in the journal that they gave us. I was like, I feel like the woman at the well. I feel spent. I feel used. I feel thrown away. And she went on to her message, and she actually brought that up, the woman at the well. And her message was about hearing God's voice. And there were several times this weekend where God was just confirming, you still hear my voice. I'm still talking to you. And with her message, it was just very beautiful to see how I could really relate to her story. And I'm not isolated in my circumstances. I'm good company.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I'll say, Rose, you can come on up, is that Courtney is a ball of light and energy, but as she got into her talk, I think she was really vulnerable for those who were there of revealing what a really hard season that she is going through. And so we're just not alone in those seasons. All right, Rose, what's your name?
My name is Melissa.
That's why we hold the mic.
Thanks, Melissa. I'm Rose. I just wanted to share, like when I went on the weekend, my excitement was Melissa had asked me to come and help. So I was like, well, it's always fun to help women. So I really just went more focused on, okay, Lord, what do you want to say? What do you want to do? And just kept thinking about that in respect to the area that I was helping with, and I was helping with the prayer team. But yesterday, just right at the end, Melissa had shared about, the Lord just blowing into the room. And as just a hurrah cry, I think if there was men, they would have shouted it out. We chose to play the shofar. And so the shofar was played. And as it was playing, I just had this image, this vision, which I can still see. And it's like that old school battleship. And it was just old school, sails are down, you can tell that they've been out of the battle, and you can see behind them all this chaos. But they were celebrating because they were on the winning team. And it just reminded me that I felt like that was God bringing up that whole scripture. Like we bring the spoils, we win, but it costs, it costs to win, and it costs to be there. But we go and share the spoils. And I just was like, wow, Lord, you're even showing us that you've been with us this weekend. And depending on where you are, like you're saying, woman at the well, or you're celebrating, or whatever battle you've overcome, when you step forward, God is right there celebrating with you. So it's just like, for me, it was such a unique and amazing to see, because usually I'm doing women's retreat in another country. So being there with my sisters in good company, like 20 years of RCC women being together and seeing like the battles that we've overcome, and God letting us share the spoils together. That was my takeaway.
Thank you, Rose. I mean, it's true, and we talked about this a little over the weekend, is that there's some of us that we can be on the other side of those battles, and we get to proclaim them. But some of them are still in the middle of those battles, and that's why it's so important for us to speak that truth so that they can hear it and that encouragement. Come on, girl, you got it. You got it. All right, why don't you tell us your name, and you can share what God did.
So, my name is Jamie, and I am new to RCC, but I'm also new to Christianity in general. I've been here about 2 months. So I just want to say you guys have been great and really welcoming, and I get a little shy. Needless to say, this was my first women's retreat, first church anything, and I was really excited to go. And like the lady that just spoke before me, I have been going through extremely hard seasons, and I felt very alone. And I was really excited for this, and I just felt like, the past 2 months I've been digging into the Word, which I obviously need to learn. Like, I don't know it, like I'm there, I'm playing music, I'm, showing up and trying to make connections and talking to the Lord and just like digging in. And it felt like I was finding my voice, and it felt like some things were, just felt lighter, and people started noticing, and that was so lovely. And, I was just like, well, told them about y'all, and, about, finding God, and like not afraid to say it. I've lost some friendships, and, it's just been, but I feel like I'm finding myself. So I was really excited for this, and then it just felt like the bottom was just falling out all of a sudden. And it was like attack after attack after attack. And after service on Sunday, I found out, some really not so great news. I go take care of my grandma afterwards, and my heart just felt like it was ripped, because she's like my mom. And I recently, without sharing too much, I was let go from my job. So I've just been like digging in and applying, and it felt like those 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, like the doors just kept closing and closing and closing. And it's okay. And then Thursday, the enemy really tried to come in, and I got not one, but like 2 nails in the back of my tire. And I was like, okay, And I go to the retreat, and everyone's so happy to be there. And I know people are going through things, and I just felt like really void for the first time in a long time. And I couldn't hear anything, and I couldn't feel anything, and I wasn't stuck in me. I kept trying and talking, and I have beautiful relationships here, and, but anyway, we went to this coffee shop in the morning, and I didn't notice anything, and it was called the Wake Up Coffee. And then we went back on the way home, and, Jocelyn and you guys had asked us, what are we going to leave? What do we need to leave? And I actually struggled, and I wanted a response. I couldn't find one. And we go back to the coffee shop, and then all of a sudden I look up by this plant, and there's, we got them in our bags, but they had these little mini Jesuses, and there was one, and I had already been there. I hadn't seen it. I look up, and I was like with Yasha and Melissa, and I was like, oh my God. And they're like, what? And I was like, Jesus, he's here. He's been here the whole time. And it just made me smile. And then I look to my right, and I see another one. And then I found another one, and I look over here, and there's literally another one, and then another one. And they're like, oh my God, your eye. And I just see, it's like, where's Waldo? But where's Jesus? And he's everywhere. And the lady at the barista, the barista goes, yeah, we have, she called him like a Jesus mogul or somebody, like a Jesus hobbit that comes in. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was just kind of like a metaphor. Like, it was just him being like, I'm here. I've been here. You just didn't see me, didn't hear me, but I'm still here. I got you. And it was a testimony, and for me, it just felt like everything was lighter, and it was a beautiful moment where I was just like, yeah, like, he's still there. So even when you don't know, he's literally everywhere. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. I got to get me one of those Jesus hobbits. That sounds that's good. All right, ladies. I'm going to give you another minute. I'm not going to call any of you by name, but there's a couple. Oh, Christy's coming. Kate's coming. All right. Oh, who's coming first? Oh, Christy's coming first. Okay, fight it out. No, just kidding. Don't do that. All right, girl. What are you going to tell us?
My name's Christy, and Melissa asked me to help, and I was like, of course, because if I'm helping, I have something to do, and I'm a doer, and if I'm not doing, I feel very lonely. So immediately I'm like, yeah, gives me a purpose, gives me something to do. I won't be sitting there like, who am I going to sit with? Who am I going to talk to? So it gave me joy to help you. And finally, like, yeah, let me use some things. I haven't been able to sing as much because I have just jaw and pain, and so I feel like God's taking some things away and then allowed me to use some other things. So that was a sweet thing. But for me, God met me like in the in-between. All the messages were amazing, and I'm taking notes, but personally, the in-betweens were the conversations that I had with women that I needed so much. I am not a good sharer of feelings. So usually when you ask me how I am, I'm like, I'm great. Like that's just, I don't know, that's how I was raised. Like pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just push forward. But I was able to multiple times with several groups of ladies, when they ask, how are you? I just shared the things that were heavy on my heart. And just feel lighter today that I was able to share those things. The grief is still there. A lot of things that seem really hard for me right now. They say that in-between stage where you're taking care of aging parents and dementia and all that, and then you still have a 15-year-old, and then like not one but two of mine, they didn't boomerang, they're like gone. And all of those things have been so heavy, like heavier I feel like than, I don't know, maybe, for me, these seem the heaviest things that I've had to deal with. And I haven't really been dealing with them. I've just been pushing them down and like put a smile on your face and do your job and do the things you know you need to do. And so God really met me in the spaces in between where I had lunch and dinner and conversation with people and just was able to share and kind of, it was like an exercise in speaking the truth, an exercise in saying what's on my heart and what I'm really feeling. So that for me was the value of and the beauty of this weekend, because I wouldn't do that. But 24 hours, you have so much, the opportunity arises. And so thank you for the people who listened to those stories and kind of pulled it slowly and gently out of me. It just felt like a huge weight was lifted from me. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Christy. And I'm glad that Christy said yes to my help, because Christy is good at many things, but she was kind of one of the forces between all our awesome swag that we had for the weekend. Some good hats, good bags, good company, good stickers, all things. Thank you, Christy. Come on, girl. All right, Kate. What's your name? What did God do?
Hi, I'm Kate. This is scary. I did not plan on sharing today, and so hopefully I don't cry. So a lot of our students know, if y'all don't know, I'm Eli's wife. He's a youth pastor here. And a lot of the students know, but if you don't, I am pregnant. And I promise that has something to do with what I'm going to say. But so over this weekend, I really kind of went into it with, I helped lead worship with Nicole and Gracie and Paula, and it was so much fun, just like Nicole was saying, just watching these women, all of you just worship and just go in. Like, it was so special and so beautiful. And I'm so thankful to have been a part of that. So thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Nicole. But yeah, so I went into this retreat, and I was really just expectant for the Lord to like pour out for all of the women that came. And I was just like, Lord, like, I'm so expectant. Like, I can't wait to see what you do in their lives. And I kind of forgot that I was one of those women. So when he spoke to me on Friday night, it was after the message, and I was just so like caught off guard. I've had so much fear, honestly, about this is our first child, and I've just been so scared of like, you know, I don't know, waking up one day and it just all being a dream. And as crazy as that seems, like it felt so real to me, like the fear was so real. And I didn't really talk about it because I was like, this is so dumb. But the Lord, Friday night, the Lord like reminded me of this picture of a rainbow, which he had given to someone else who spoke that over me and Eli before we even knew we were pregnant. And it was, she told us that the Lord gave us a promise and we wouldn't have a long wait, and it was not a long wait indeed. So yeah, it was so beautiful, and the Lord is so good and he's so faithful, and he didn't have to remind me of that in that moment, but he chose that moment. And yeah, I'm so thankful to have been there and to be a daughter of him. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Kate. We're so excited for you guys. Okay, we could take one more if anybody else would like to share. Oh, Gracie, come on. All right. Come on up, girl. Don't do it. That'll just be about your testimony next time, about your trip. All right, tell us your name. Tell us what God's done.
I'm Gracie. Nicole and Kate and I led together, so I guess. And Paula. Where's Paula? Yeah, Paula. I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it because Holy Spirit just put it on my heart. You know when your heart starts beating really fast and everybody's like, that's your time to share, so I'm here. But going to the weekend, my work schedule is pretty rigorous, so getting to Friday morning, I was like, wow, I have no energy, my sinuses are draining, my throat is not doing great. How am I gonna sing? What are we singing? What's going on? And just driving there, I was just praying like, I need something so bad. Like I need God to bring so much clarity. There's just been the last like 2.5 months of my husband and I, just like thing after thing after thing. And each one of them on their own would have been a lot to deal with, but all of it at once was like so much. And we've just been praying like, God, what steps do we take? You know, what's the right direction? A lot of great things, a lot of confusing things, a lot of hard things. But I got to Friday night, and just as everyone had already shared, like everyone was so expectant. I was like, wow, we were all of the same mind, the same heart. And we just all went in together. It was like, you know, we had several messages shared about the picking up your mat and letting Jesus carry you to the water. And it was like we all just dove in together. And it was like, you know, the holding hands before you do jump when you're a kid, like in the pool. Like that's what we did. And God met us there. It was so special, and it was just priceless time. And proud to say I was the person you kicked out on Friday night.
I wasn't going to call you out, but it's true.
And for some reason, it was just like no question, like I'm not doing bingo. As much as I love it, I was like, I have to. Some of my friends and we were joking, we're like, we have to go cry our eyes out for a couple hours. And that's what we did. And I just remember like being on my face and just feeling like God was shaking something up in my life. But I was like, I don't know. Like, you can't feel the eruption yet. I'm like, someone has to help me. And I mean, it was the good company around me that could bring clarity because I couldn't find it on my own. And Rose, I just love you. She prayed over like every fiber of my being, like every cell in my body, hair, like she prayed over me. And I just knew, like I had seen her throughout the night. I didn't tell you this, but was like, Rose is going to lay her hand on me, and I don't think I'm going to be okay after it happens. And she was walking around like slow walks, and I would be like peeking like, oh, is it now? And I mean, she just touched my shoulder, and I just broke apart. And it was like, oh, I just needed it, you know? And when we were talking and checking in the next day, it was like, my situations haven't changed, you know? The circumstances have, like, you know, it's still the same, but I am different, and I have clarity, and I know what God is calling me to do, and I know what to pray for. And, you know, as you can see, for those of us that served that weekend, we all needed it so much, you know, and being able to pour out even the next day, like, the final kind of set that Nicole was playing it as well, and all of us were just, like, soaking it in right before Melissa spoke, and wow, like, I just looked around, and I was just so grateful because my husband and I have been here for about 3.5 years, and I've never met some of these women before, and some people I have met, and I don't remember their names. So that was like a running joke for a lot of people I met. I was like, I need to remember your name somehow. And like walking around, even in church this morning, like I love that I get to know so many of the women in our church, and I'm just so honored to be in this company and to hear all the different walks of life and the amazing stories that all the women have. Like, we are so honored and blessed to be a part of this community, and so many people have picked us up without even realizing, and we've been able to pour out into so many people, and we're just, wow. I mean, I'm so filled with joy and with honor, and you are incredible. But, I mean, we all have a little bit of antisocial, ness to us. And so for those, especially for men, for the men's retreat or anything that we do here, like, I haven't even been to a Women's Wednesday. I'm not ashamed to say that. But now I'm going.
Lots of freedom.
Yes. But, now it's like I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go see these women again. I can't wait to hear about what God is doing. And, wow, it was so amazing.
Thank you, Grace.
The hats are great.
The hats are great. That's true. I will say, like, we had, when we ordered the hats, we thought we had extra, but we ended up having just enough. And, like, we're, like, going into the retreat. You have an extra one? Well, oh, you have oh, Vicky, girl. You got to be so quick. So quick. All right, come on up. Come on, Vicky. What's your name? What has God quickly done for you?
Okay, I have a confession to make. Where is Mama Cheryl? She's not here. Good. Okay. I stole her little Jesus. Okay? But who is the best person to steal Jesus? Mama Cheryl, right? Probably she's still looking for it. Anyway, I'm giving back. Well, 2 things.
Quickly.
Yes. One, it was great. And the second one, too short. We need 1 month.
You what?
1 month.
1 month. Oh, it was too short. We probably should just go on a trip to Brazil, take all the ladies. Right? Cambodia. Oh, she says Cambodia. Thank you, Vicky. I think we have extra little Jesuses, I think. Okay. I think Cheryl has enough of Jesus in her, but, right. She's got some share. Cheryl's got some Jesus to share. Listen, I'm reading the verse out to you guys. It's all about what the Lord speaks and what we as his people get to proclaim. And when we do testimonies, I know if you are a visitor at River City Church, if this is your first time, wow, welcome. We are so glad you're here. This is not what we normally do on a Sunday. This is different than what we do on a Sunday. But when we experience something that God does, when we as a group just experience his freedom and his provision and his seeing and his knowing us, we can't help but proclaim it. We can't help but speak it out. And so that's what we're doing this Sunday. So if you're here for the first time, come back next Sunday. It will be I can't guarantee it's going to be a normal Sunday, but it'll probably be a little bit more normal than this. But that is the power of God, God's faithfulness and his work and his provision in us. When we get to proclaim it out, and even more so, one of the things that I was talking about someone at the retreat with what we were talking about is someone had this picture of just these clouds kind of hovering over everything. And where the clouds were, it was blocking out the light from the sun. And the kind of the word in that was that the sun, it did not go away. It never leaves. It is there always, but sometimes there might be something in between that it just blocks the view and we can't see it. And we need the Spirit of God to come and blow the clouds out so we can see the sun. And I was talking to someone afterwards and we're saying sometimes we're in that season where the clouds are still there and we're waiting for them to be blown out. But there's beauty in what God does in that space. I don't know if it was Courtney or Jocelyn who referenced the verse about treasures in the darkness. There is nothing in God's kingdom in that spirit and that time of in-between and waiting that he doesn't use for his glory. So even if you're like, oh, this is great, but I still feel those clouds over me, God uses that time. And on the other side of it, you get to proclaim his goodness and his faithfulness. That's truth. So a couple plugs. I think it's, like just hearing this, like if you were here on this weekend, you're like, oh my gosh, yes. And if you weren't, that might not be what you're feeling. You might be feeling a little left out, like I didn't get to experience that. I'm not feeling like I'm there. And I want to say that this is not the only thing that we get to do together as a church and as women and as men, because all the men other than Rudy and Bruce were left out. And so we're sorry. They did have to be there a little bit. Jared couldn't come. Jared didn't get a hat. Even the pastor doesn't get a hat. He did try. We tried yours on. Okay, you should take it with you to Cambodia. But there, we have other things in our church, other places for you to get plugged in, other places for you to connect to the body of Christ that God has you in right now. For the women, we have a Bible study that's starting on September 17th on Wednesday morning. Oh, wait. Is that the same? Yeah, and also Women's Wednesday is also starting on the 17th, same time. And our great friend Nicole is going to be sharing on Women's Wednesday for the first time. And that's just a space where it's like a little one night of this where we get together. And not to leave the men out. I think I joked about this last week, but we get one night at Epworth and they get a whole week in the Amazon. But the guys are going on a mission trip to the Amazon. So if this is something as a man that has been in your heart of just like at time with the men of the church serving in God's kingdom, I don't know if we have a slide for it, but if you go on the Church Center app, there's a sign up that you guys can go and be together serving God for a week in the Amazon. The other thing that we have, and we've had Women's Wednesday going for maybe 2 years now, and some of the guys are starting to get jealous. Where's our Women's Wednesday? Right? When do we get to leave not having to be here? I mean, Men's First Monday's at 7 o'clock in the morning. No thanks for me. But the guys are like, when do we get to leave and not have to cook dinner at night? Well, your prayers have been answered because now we have not Women's Wednesday, but we have the men's checkpoint. And that is also starting brand new opportunity where the men are going to be meeting the second Wednesday of every month at 6:30 p.m., not a.m., big difference there, for a time of just connection and fellowship. It is awesome, church, when we get to step away for 24 hours and be with each other and with God, but he can use 2 hours on a Wednesday, right? He can use a week in the Amazon, 24 hours over the Georgia line. Whatever we can give him, God will use it. And so my encouragement for this morning, I'm just going to go into prayer. We're going to pray, and my encouragement for you guys this morning is those spaces that you need God in, those spaces that you need his victory in, that you need to hear his word to be reminded of what it is. He has space for you in that. We are here right now, and we have an opportunity to hear what God has for us, to break through some of those spaces. And as a church, we create multiple times for you guys to encounter with the living God.